New Zealand passed a law to stamp out tobacco smoking over time by imposing a lifetime ban on young people buying cigarettes in that country. So should Ireland follow suit? I'm joined by consultant in paediatric respiratory medicine and the chair of Children's Health Ireland, Professor Des Cox, and also the spokesperson of smokers' rights organisation Forest, John Mallon. I'll come to you first of all, Des, if I may. Do you think this is a good move by New Zealand?
Yeah, thanks, Ciara. I think over time the phasing out of tobacco products is a good idea. Obviously, the implementation of it and how you go about it, there's probably different ways of doing it. What New Zealand are proposing is banning the sale of tobacco products to anyone born after 2009. But they're also introducing a number of other measures, including decreasing the amount of nicotine it's been sold in tobacco products, and also they're proposing decreasing the number of retail shops that can actually sell tobacco products. So overall, this is a very broad and very brave measure. But certainly, tobacco kills 1 in 2 users. So anything that can decrease the rate of tobacco usage in Ireland is very much welcomed.
Okay, so significant limitations put on there across the board. John, do you agree with Des? Is it reasonable to limit tobacco sales in this way, considering how detrimental it is to people's health?
I think it's absurd, Ciara, and thank you for the invitation to come on. What this means today is that 15-year-olds in New Zealand won't be allowed to buy cigarettes. Well, I would think that law is already in place for them. But banning adults from buying tobacco, or banning anyone from buying tobacco, just drives the demand into the hands of the illicit trade. And the illicit trade will happily sell tobacco in units of 200, so you can smoke much more. And you'll get it at half price. It seems silly that you would drive it in that direction, but the governments, of course, around the world have created a huge profit motive for the illicit trade. And if you think about it, you're kind of infantilizing future generations. You're saying you can buy alcohol at 18, drive a car, you can vote or join the army, you can even get married, but you can't buy cigarettes. They'll get their hands on them if they want them.
But we already say that about some things, John, rather. We already say that maybe about heroin, for example. We might say, well, you can't buy heroin, not legally anyway, so are we not just putting tobacco in with other drugs that are harmful? We already do this with other things. Is it unreasonable?
Well, you see, I would say, Ciara, looking at it over the last few years, you're looking at tobacco becoming unpopular of natural causes anyway. And I would imagine it would probably be far better if, instead of the government setting a tobacco-free target, that people in their own lives set it. Then it'll get done, and it'll get done voluntarily. This is coming up with all sorts of schemes and ideas and introducing laws and bans and all the rest of it. I mean, how do you police stuff like this? We've enough problems on the streets without policemen going into shops to find out who's buying tobacco. It doesn't make sense. And what's the poor retailer supposed to do? All the way around, this constant attack on tobacco just makes it more popular. It's the old forbidden fruit idea, really.
Let me bring Des back in. Des, do you accept that this is infantilising people and that this will drive it into the black market and the illicit criminal market for drugs in general?
The first thing I'd say is that we're failing to help people quit smoking here in Ireland. The latest Healthy Ireland survey from this year showed that our tobacco rate is still at 18%, which is stalled. So the first thing we're not doing enough to help people quit smoking here in Ireland. So we need to do more. So we need to think about and consider these brave moves that New Zealand are considering. The second thing in regards to the illicit trade, there's good research to show now that despite Ireland's significant increases in their price of tobacco products in Ireland, we haven't noticed a significant increase coinciding with the illicit trade. So that's an argument that's often used by the tobacco industry to when they want to counteract government policies such as the one being proposed in New Zealand. Look, we need to do more, and the idea that you can't drink when you're Obviously, and other things. I mean, tobacco, if it was put on the market today, would not be made legal. That's the bottom line. It's a dangerous product. Most smokers, when you talk to them, want to quit. And actually, this is a measure that actually is well supported in Ireland. The HSE did a survey earlier this year, and 83% of people surveyed supported the idea of phasing out tobacco products.
Let me go to the last word to you, John. Do you accept that maybe sparing future generations the addiction of tobacco might be a good thing?
Well, I come back to it again. Professor Cox, I know he means well, but he started that by saying we're not doing enough. Meaning the authorities and the government. Why don't you educate people and let them make their choices, and they'll do enough? It's their lives you're talking about, really, after all. And instead of constantly introducing restrictions and bans and stuff, why don't you let people, if you equip them with the right knowledge, the right education, they'll make their own decisions, they'll make the right decisions. This is preventing them from doing something that perhaps they want to do, and that's always going to create problems.
All right, look, thank you both very much for speaking to me this morning. That is the Chair of the Policy Group on Tobacco at the Royal College of Physicians in Ireland, Professor Des Cox, and John Mallon, who is the spokesperson for Forest. Let us know what you think. Would you like to think that future generations won't be smokers, that they might be smokers if they buy it illicitly, but that's the same with all, I suppose, illegal drugs at the moment. But would you like to think that we won't introduce them to cigarettes in shops and pubs in the way that previous generations were? What do you think about that?